Finally, we come to session 7 of 7. Congratulations. And we're going to be talking about just two big things during the session: disruptive business models, or what we call blue ocean strategy, versus a red ocean strategy. And then we're going to be looking at how to put your entire strategy onto one PowerPoint slide. So, lesson one is going to be blue ocean strategy or disruptive business models. And lesson two is putting the entire strategy onto one PowerPoint slide. The activities are very simple. We're going to look at three cases: Uber, Airbnb, and I want you to reflect more heavily on the VW case we're going to look at. And then activity two is just reflect on how strategy can be reduced to one PowerPoint slide. So let's climb straight into blue ocean versus red ocean strategy. So Kim and Morborn devised this mindset to blue ocean strategy, and they called it blue ocean strategy. And what we realize here is in this picture is you don't want to be in a red ocean. In a red ocean, you've got body parts and a lot of blood in the water because you are going head on head with your competitor. So, two taxi companies going head on head, and the one reduces the price, the other one reduces the price. Instead, come up with new key buying factors that customers want, like Uber Taxi, and then you would be in a blue ocean strategy. You would be in a completely different, uncontested market space, and there's a problem to being in a blue ocean strategy. The question is, how long can you stay in it before the competitor copies you? So, really, Taxify have copied Uber, and now they are in a red ocean. So, one has to keep on innovating in marketing. And at the core of blue ocean strategy is one needs to drop your costs and at the same time improve your value proposition to the customer. Now, it sounds impossible to do, but that's how hyper competitive the world has become. You've got to use, for example, technology to drop your costs and at the same time develop more value for the customer. And that's what we call innovation or value innovation. So, this all goes back to the key buying factors that we looked at in session 5. Remember that exercise for the MBA? What are the key buying factors of students wanting to do an MBA? Well, here we can list the key buying factors of Airbnb versus an ordinary BNB. And we can see here that Airbnb has only got one issue. Number 9, personal interaction could be maybe better at ordinary BNB versus an Airbnb. And I'm being critical there. They've only got one issue, but look at the ordinary BNB. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red issues, and that's why Airbnb is wiping out ordinary BNBs, and that's why ordinary BNBs have to also join Airbnb because Airbnb is in a blue ocean. So let's look at another case study. Uber. Now, Uber looked at 6 brand new key buying factors, and that's why they've wiped out the normal taxi industry. They developed what we call a new business model. They've created an entirely new market space where there's literally no competition. They do not compete with normal taxis, they compete in their own blue ocean. But how long will it be before their blue ocean turns red? And we know that other models or business models like Taxify have already evolved and are already hurting Uber. So, what's the lesson? We need to keep swimming in a blue ocean. We need to keep innovating in a blue ocean. We can't relax for a moment. So, Uber looked at the existing taxi model, which was a high cost model and very cumbersome. All right, you had to own the taxis. This is interesting. Uber is the biggest taxi company in the world, but doesn't even own a taxi. So they created an app. there's the technology that drops your cost that is linked to a credit card. No physical money is swapped, which is fantastic. They use the magic of GPS and things like Google Maps. All cars have air cons. Cars arrive almost instantly, depending on where you live. Can you see these new key buying factors they've introduced into the existing taxi model? And number 6, Uber doesn't even own the car. The drivers of the cars own the cars, which is why the cars are always so neat and tidy, because a normal taxi driver wouldn't really care much about his car. And there's even more. I've only listed 6 here, but you could list even more new key buying factors that Uber developed. And that's why they're in a blue ocean strategy and wiping out the normal taxi industry. So we can go on and look at another blue ocean strategy model, one of my favorite, which is VW Hatfield. Many years ago, about 10 years ago, used a blue ocean strategy and achieved the highest customer satisfaction index, or CSI, in South Africa. This is a photograph that I took at 11:30 in the morning during the week. And what we can see, there's a lot of empty chairs where the service advisors normally sit. Now, there used to be a dozen pretty ladies who used to sit at those desks and take your car keys and accept your car in and book it in. And then they used to phone you at the end of the day and tell you your car is ready. And you say, wow, that's a big bill. Please explain to me why the bill is so high. And then they would say, well, I need to go speak to the service advisor. And so let me tell you what actually happened here. Is about 10 years ago, they got rid of all the front desk ladies and made the mechanics do their job. So these mechanics were accepting the car keys in the morning, were directly facing the clients in the morning, and would have to meet and greet them and then discuss their needs, and then they'd have to go and service the car. Now, you would think this would be an absolute disaster, getting rid of that front line or the customer-facing staff. Well, let's look at this. Those ladies, unfortunately, weren't absolute technical experts like the mechanics. And what happened was there was a lot of communication breakdown between the front desk person and the customer, and that they would then have to involve the mechanic. Now, would you agree, by getting rid of 12 people, front desk people, service advisors, would save you money? Yes, so costs have come down. However, why did buyer value go up using the mechanic to do 2 jobs? In other words, VW Hatfield's customer satisfaction index became the best in the VW stable in South Africa. And by the way, BMW has copied this model as well at certain dealer principles. And why did the buyer value go up? Well, let's look at this. Though the mechanic does 2 jobs, which saves money, the customers loved it too. Why? Because the customer spoke directly to the mechanic and heard it from the horse's mouth and got the full picture up front, the full picture what was going on with the car during the day. And the most interesting thing is the mechanics loved it too. So this was a win-win. The mechanics loved it because now they felt it more important. You must understand that humans love working with other humans. Imagine how boring your day is when you only work with mechanical parts all day, or engines all day. And so the mechanics loved it. They were more highly motivated. And VW Hatfield could afford to pay them quite a bit more money. All right. And sometimes they would give the mechanic a company car, and these were the only mechanics who had company cars. So they were highly motivated mechanics. So they dropped their costs by about 2/3. And the saving that they made, they passed on to the mechanics, some of the saving. The rest of the saving, of course, VW could enjoy as a gross profit percentage, a high gross profit percentage. So that's what we call value innovation. Imagine dropping your costs and increasing your customer value proposition. That is fantastic, and that's what we call blue ocean strategy. So, how can we put our entire strategy onto one PowerPoint slide? Well, here it is. This slide has three major things on it. It has what we call your lean strategy, the three big areas, which are number one, your objectives. And here we look at objectives for this year. And we also want to keep our eye on the ball over a 3 to 5 year period too. So we also put in some major milestones, some big, big goals. For example, like we want to be the highest CSI in the whole of South Africa in 3 years' time. That would be a major, what we call milestone or big, hairy, audacious goal. BHAG. Jim Collins came up with this acronym called BHAG. It stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. You might want to say we want to be the best medical aid in the world. That would be a BHAG. So you might only want to say we want to be the best medical aid in the world in 5 years' time, but you can't only look at long-term goals. You also got to look at short-term goals. What's the next thing after objectives? Can you remember when it comes to strategy? The next thing is our issues. So bottom right-hand corner, we can put in all our issues. These are roadblocks or big potholes that will trip us up. And if we don't get rid of those issues, we will not achieve our objectives. Then what's missing is we need to say, in my business unit or my products, if I'm a product manager or brand manager or marketing manager or whatever you're in charge of, you could say, what are our top 6 projects for this year? And I've called it a 6-pack here. What are our top 6 projects for the year that we want to roll out? And those 6 projects will wipe out those issues and at the same time achieve our objectives. What's missing here is who is responsible for which project. We only want one name next to who's responsible. When are they going to start and how far are they? So obviously if it says 100% completed, the project has been completed. Remember, everything must be listed in priority. Your top 6 projects must be listed in priority. Your objectives, your top objective comes first. Your biggest, most critical issue comes first. And then what's missing is resources. Do we need more people? And how much money do we need to make it happen? So congratulations, well done. We've ended session 7 of 7. And now what you got to do is start preparing for your assignment and exam. So please go to your specific instructions on the assignment and exam. Congratulations and good luck.